Alright, now I'm going to paint a hibiscus composition. So to start out, I'm going to paint these kind of a lighter pink color. So I've got shell pink here, and then I'm going to mix in a little bit of quinacridone rose, and that looks pretty good to me. Mix in a little bit of water, and then I'll start with this forward-facing hibiscus here. And I'm just going to gently tap in a little bit of a darker pink here in the center. And then let that dry completely. I'm going to add a 3/4 facing hibiscus up here. And this one is basically the same mix, but I've added in a little bit of orange. In fact, I want a little bit more orange. Just so these flowers stand out a little bit from each other. Touching in that darker color. This one could actually use an even darker color because that first pink that I dropped in just kind of got lost. Alright, and then while these are drying, I'm going to start adding in some leaves. And I want to use, this is Perylene green, which has more of a blue undertone to it. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of Hooker's green. And I'm going to keep these leaves kind of longer so that they look a little bit more tropical. Just keeping things really loose and bright with this one. Not really fussing with the details too much. Just letting things kind of be where they're going to be. And I like these kind of two-tone leaves that I've been doing. You can make it a little more of a dramatic color shift if you want, but I've painted in one side, and rather than use the same color for the other side, I'm just going in with another color, letting them kind of blend in together. Just adds a fun little bit of interest here. I don't feel bad about adding in a lot of leaves because tropical flowers anyway, there is a lot of green happening. Alright, I'm going to allow my flowers to completely dry before I come in and add more details. Alright, now my flowers are completely dry, so I'm going to go in with my size 4 round brush and just add in a couple of little details. So this time with a darker pink, I'm just going to kind of add some lines here in the center. And then the same with this one up here. And then I'll let those detail lines dry completely before I add in the stamen. Alright, those are finished. Now I'm going to add that final detail. And I'm using alizarin crimson, which is the darkest red. It's more of a maroon kind of pink red. And then a little bit of this magenta I'll mix in. If you had gouache paint, you could use that and just make sure it's really opaque and make these yellow if you wanted to do that. If you don't have gouache, you can follow what I did and just use a darker shade of whatever color you ended up using. Now I'm going to give this one last look and just make sure there aren't any spaces that need filling in, and I can already tell right up here is kind of blank where I've got leaves kind of everywhere down here. Just going to add in a little light kind of sprig, but because that's muted and I don't want it to feel like it's the only place that that is, I'm just going to add it a couple more places so they don't feel out of place.